Tonight, here on 252 ESPN Radio, the NBA Finals, Game 4. The countdown will start at 8 o'clock and then tip off at 9. So if you're away from your television screens, you can catch the crowning of the champions tonight. I'm going to welcome Michael Norwood in to the show. I mean, that's what's going to happen, right?
Without a doubt.
I mean, nobody thinks different. This, what were they? They were like this last year, and this was the game that they stole. Kyrie Irving had 40-some points, but it just delayed the inevitable last year. Is there any chance they can do that, at least steal one game and prolong the...
You know, the only way we've talked about this, and other people have said it too, Golden State is inclined to mail in a game or two and act like they're the Harlem Globetrotters. So I could see them getting out there and clowning and not being prepared. But the story I've heard from just watching ESPN and Twitter and stuff, that Golden State really wants to make a statement against LeBron, because everybody's like, LeBron, he's phenomenal and everything. I think they really want to bury him and go, y'all think he's all that? We beat him in 5 last year, and we swept him this year. So I think it's over in 4. There's a possibility, but I think Golden State wants to put a little mark on history and go, okay, we've beaten them 8-1 the last 2 years.
Do you put any sort of support behind this Stephen A. Smith report yesterday that Golden State plans on meeting with LeBron? And I understand they're probably going to meet with him, but there's no actual weight to that, right? Like LeBron is not going there.
They're not even going to meet with them. Stephen A's making up stuff. We can get into, where's LeBron going to be next? I'm still going to stick with the Lakers, even though he doesn't have a chance to win there. There are a lot of free agents that are kind of hovering around. Chris Paul, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard in a year. It wouldn't take a lot to make them into a formidable team, but I don't. He's not meeting with Golden State. Right. I mean, come on, that's just Stephen A. spouting off. So no way. And Houston, everybody keeps saying Houston's an opportunity, but we've talked about that here. It's just an awful fit. You got 3 guys that want to dominate the ball, and how do they play together?
The list was Boston, Philly, Golden State.
And Houston, Paul George.
Houston and Paul George.
Yeah, they didn't say the Lakers. They said Paul George.
Paul George. So maybe – so other than Los Angeles, could Paul George – and again, we don't have the problem is in the NBA, they'd have to make the math work.
Right.
So I don't have a list in front of me of how the math would work, but let's assume that they could go anywhere. Where could we put Paul George and LeBron James, if you can think of any place other than the Lakers that's going to make a difference? I'm guessing you got to start in the East, right?
Philadelphia.
Both of those guys in Philly?
Sure.
Right, but you got to trade somebody.
Yeah, I guess we don't have JJ on contract.
Fultz.
No, he was the one you did.
You're going to have to get rid of Fultz.
Yeah, but no, Fultz doesn't help you in the math.
Yeah, right.
Because he's a rookie deal.
Embiid and Simmons and all those guys are still on rookie deals. So that's why it's so enticing.
Yeah, it doesn't help you.
You can maintain the core, but still add these max guys.
Well, that's interesting. So is that where you're thinking? I mean, I want to ask you. The more we get close, I can't see him going into the West, because there's no easy way to get a championship in the West. I mean, other than the Houston route, but right. I mean, I tend to think a lot about what you were saying. I still don't know how you make that work with all the ball dominance, other than if we can entertain the idea that maybe LeBron James is willing to start playing off the ball.
No, he ain't playing off the ball. And one thing I talked about this one other time, talking about maybe going to the West or not. Mm-hmm. Well, the Lakers would be a lifestyle choice. He already has 2 houses worth like $40-some million there. Set up roots that, okay, he's going to be there the rest of his life possibly. I know I'm not catching Mike. I'm not catching him with 6 rings. So maybe it's, I'm going to go to the Lakers. I'm going to put my name up there with West, Chamberlain, Magic, Shaq, just a long list of legends that have played there. Magic is the GM. Learn under Magic, business and thing. I still think I could see L.A. And, again, he's comfortable enough, I believe, in his own skin to go, I've done everything I can in my career, and I'm I think he's second best player of all time, and he's not catching Mike. So, what's the point of going to a Houston and then you get ripped for that and it doesn't work, and then you go somewhere else? To me, go to the Lakers. I'm in la la land for the next 50 years. My kids go to middle school, high school there. He's going to hold on until that oldest one makes it to the NBA, and they're going to be Lakers together. Yeah. That's my prediction.
I understand all that. I guess the thing that I wonder, I think he wants to stay in the East, because if you look at what the East has afforded him, it's the reason he gets to the conference finals every single year. The NBA fans are like upset about the Golden State Warriors and how they've sort of hijacked the NBA landscape over the past few years. But what NBA fans I think should be sort of lamenting is that this, to me, is further reason why I think the NBA should go to a total reseeding when it comes to the playoffs and just seed it 1 through 16, because then we could be sitting here and looking at the potential of an epic Game 7 between the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. But instead, LeBron James gets to take an okay Cavaliers team and march to the finals
like this year. They beat no Hall of Famers.
No.
And there's been several years where they've literally beaten no Hall of Famers. And I even think, talking about Houston, just as a side note, if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, if he's fully healthy, I think they win Game 6 or 7, one of those games, and they knock off Golden State. But I think you do. I think you can have an East and a West, and here's the top 8 teams for each. But after that, it's 1 through 16, everybody's seeded.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what I think.
You run into some issues
or you
with, like,
have to play
but
a balanced schedule. Some people are going to say that you play a balanced schedule, but with travel now, it's a lot easier. You can do a balanced schedule.
I mean, I'm okay with it, but I will say it's completely cyclical. Is that, if that's the word? Because
when we were growing up, the East killed them.
The East was so much better than the West. We always thought the Lakers had an easy.
Yep,
I mean,
they did.
They went to 9 finals, but it was because the West was really weak. And then we saw over that time that the West got a little bit better and the East got a little bit weaker. But I mean, who's to say that? As I said, when we look at the youth, that in a few years, Boston and Philadelphia, at how young they are and how good that they look. And who's to say there isn't another great young team in the East somewhere? Indiana's kind of this team that everybody shrugs
really
off.
are.
That and then in the next 10 years, those teams may be looked at as better than the so.
And
Again, I'm fine with it, but it does kind of go in cycles.
And Golden State in 2 years maybe won't look the same. The numbers won't work.
Yeah, I think it's what they have got. Clay after next season, he's a free agent, and the following season, Draymond. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, somebody made an interesting prediction. They were saying KD will win this one. He'll stay around. They'll win next one, and then KD will bolt and go to somewhere like the New York Knicks and say, "I've got all my rings. I want to have my team," because he's not. It's still Curry's team. I mean, they're cheering for Durant, but it's Curry's team, because they were grumbling when they weren't playing well in these playoffs. Everybody's blaming Durant and his ISO ball.
And it's ultimately, as we've seen now, that these guys are going to, once everybody's got 2 or 3 rings, that's when they start going, well, now I need to have my own individual legacy. I'm going to be always attached to that dynasty team.
And maybe that's Clay.
Everybody.
Clay, easily you can see him as a Laker.
Yeah, his dad works for ESPN LA.
He's a LA guy, and I think he lives out there in the summer, and he's got 3 already, right? 2. Yeah, this will be 3. This will be 3.
He's got 3 already.
Yeah, so he's got 3 already. And then all of a sudden, next comes up, he's got 4. Like, all right, I'm going to go be a Laker. Again, put on that Laker jersey, be part of that Laker history, tradition, mystique. And hey, if we don't win it, that's all right. I'll go home and polish my other rings.
To go back to LeBron James for just a second, because we had Jordan on yesterday, and Jordan is the first guy to say LeBron James, is a career loser, because this will be his 6th finals loss, which I don't buy into that at all.
I don't either.
It doesn't mean anything.
He even had the win-loss, the 18-31. I think that's his win-loss record in the NBA Finals. Are you going to bring up the Brian North really?
Oh yeah, okay. What Jerry West was 1-8.
1-8 in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
And we do not concede that he's
Clutch.
a loser.
He's
right.
Mr. Clutch.
Right.
He's the low guy.
The point I was going to make was just that if LeBron does stay in the East, and let's say wherever the hell he goes, I mean, let's put him in Boston, and Boston consistently gets to the NBA Finals, but LeBron continues to lose,
right.
and let's say that in 4 years, LeBron has an NBA Finals record of 3-10
Right.
for his whole entire career. I don't know why that's a knock against him and his legacy, especially when you look at what he's playing against on the other side. To me, like, there's so much to, hey,
Yeah.
I got there every single year. Sure, you didn't, like, climb the mountain, but you got to the top.
And they have been the underdogs in every single series, except for like one or like maybe with Miami, they were the favorites once or twice. But it's not like they're going in there as the favorites and coughing up stuff. I mean, I would bet. So this will be what, 9 finals? I'll bet he's been the underdog in 6 at least.
And as we've said, I mean, Jim Kelly never won a Super Bowl. He's beloved. People were respecting
And they went to
him.
4 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
And Bron's got 3.
yeah,
He's got 3.
Yeah,
And to me, he's got 3, but he's got the big one. The big one was Cleveland. If he never wins the Cleveland one and ends up with 2 in Miami or even 3 in Miami, I don't give him as much credit because, again, Dwayne Wade was the best player on the first one. He had to bring all these people in. Cleveland, he gets a asterisk, a big plus, because that was a big-time one. He took the Cleveland team down 3-1. So I weight that 1 in Cleveland more than the 2 in Miami.
Well, there are. We need to take a break. We're going to talk some more LeBron James. We're going to talk some NBA Finals. Antoine Scott is going to come and join us. And what I want to do is take a break. When we come back to talk some basketball, I want to discuss the thing we were talking about, awards, and something we talked about last week. I'm enough with this waiting until the NBA Finals week to announce who wins these awards. I think it lessens the award because
Nobody cares.
But again,
I just don't care.
we're going to hold off on that. Plus, we're going to take care of all the other sort of off-season stuff. But more basketball to come here. Don't go anywhere.